we have Irresistible, which is about a Democrat strategist who helps a retired veteran run for mayor in a small town, conservative Midwest town, run for mayor in a small conservative Midwest town. This film is indeed directed by the illustrious, the incomparable Jon Stewart. It is both written and directed by Jon Stewart, one of my favorite, I don't even know, like commentators, actors, stand-up artists. I don't even know what the fuck, what box.
And he wasn't a particularly good actor or comedian.
Truth be told, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, and he knows that. But what he found his niche in being funny enough and interesting enough to host a daily show for how long did he host a daily show? Like,
oh god, since like the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, maybe.
And to continue to make great show after show after show, unapologetically answering questions and being able to frame news in a way that was digestible to people who didn't give a fuck about, the politics or the government or just these things that were happening around the world. He obviously led way to people like the current host of the Daily Show, Trevor Noah. Who's the other guy?
He has a whole host. Sam B, Colbert.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert,
Hassan Minaj, everybody.
Even I'm not sure who came first, him or Bill Maher.
They came from. I mean, for one, they do kind of different things, but then also like their careers aren't necessarily 1-to-1. Even though I can see
Jon Stewart's better though. Yeah,
Jon Stewart's way better. I used to actually, I didn't really know that much about Bill Maher, but then I kind of got a little bit of taste of him, and I kind of liked him a little bit, and then as the more I kept listening, just like anybody else, right? Like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, the more rope you give people, the more they're just like, they just prove that they're stupid.
And here's the difference to me about, and I don't want to go down this road about comparing people. We have to pit people against each other. Bill Maher has a sense, to me, has a sense of arrogance about like who he is and what he does. Right? Yeah. Like, I'm Bill Maher. I have this show on HBO and I deliver the news and I'm an important person and what I say is important, right? Mm-hmm. What Jon Stewart was able to do over the course of his tenure on The Daily Show was deliver the news in a digestible, interesting, fun way without, the arrogance around it, right? Like he wasn't above the news or above what was happening. He was just delivering it to you in a fun way that you could understand.
Here's the thing. I think that it's just logic, right? Like I think Jon Stewart was just logical about the jokes that he made, his delivery of those jokes. Whereas I think Bill Maher is just at times just rank. Just he reeks of sort of this. I know better than you, and what I say is just fact based on the fact that I'm saying it. Like there's just like with Jon Stewart, there's like you could follow it. You know what I mean? With Bill Maher, it's just I said it, so therefore, it's true.
Which is why I love that episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with it was Jerry Seinfeld, of course, and Bill Maher. And I've never seen someone given such a reality check as Jerry Seinfeld gave Bill Maher, where he was like you have power, you're a powerful guy, but you don't have real power.
And he was just like,
and Bill Maher was just kind of like,
I mean, true, but
I can't really do shit.
Yeah,
I can project the idea that I might be able to, but I can't really do it.
I mean,
which is
I think that's true to a very sort of. But then you could argue the same thing about Seinfeld himself, as well as Stewart, but
Seinfeld knew that about himself.
Exactly, and they exactly.
It's one thing that to know. Hey, I'm Jerry Seinfeld. I don't have real power.
So that allows you to be self-deprecating. It allows you to not take yourself too seriously.
Exactly. It frees yourself of the arrogance of believing that you're powerful.
That's what Bill Maher has, is this arrogance of no, like I host the show on HBO, so therefore
I've got a syndicated HBO show. I've been almost 20 years. I'm powerful. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
If the executive decides to cancel your shows or someone shoots you in the head, power's gone.
That can be said about pretty much anybody.
Exactly. And that's important to know.
To know in life.
Yeah. If you get shot in the head, everything you were doing stops.
It's all done. Okay, so let's talk about this movie, Irresistible, which, again, is written, directed by Jon Stewart, but also stars Steve Carell, as well as Mackenzie Davis, who we both really like, Rose Byrne.
Love her. Rose Byrne.
She's great. Chris Cooper, Natasha Lyonne, and of course Topher Grace, as well as Deborah Messing. This looks really good. I thought it sort of reeked a little bit of The Campaign with Will Ferrell, which I've grown to really like that movie. I didn't really like it at first, but I've kind of grown to like it.
Man, the older I get, the more I hate Will Ferrell. He's just not that. It's not that. He's funny.
No. His later movies aren't that funny.
So his earlier
Will Ferrell?
shit, yeah.
Come on, it's classic. Come on, Step Brothers.
Step Brothers is good.
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights is good.
Anchorman.
I hated Anchorman.
Yeah, I don't
for me,
know.
everything
That's
after
a very
Anchorman sucked.
un-American thing to say. The Anchorman was like one of the first ones to come out.
It wasn't Talladega Nights and came before.
That was after. No, that was after Anchorman.
All right, well, maybe Anchorman is a different storyline for me, but I hated that. I didn't hate it; it just wasn't good.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not even gonna try to dissect that, but he had so many iconic roles. Like, so for instance, it wasn't even his movie, but I remember the best character in Wedding Crashers was Will Ferrell in Chaz. Ma, Meatloaf.
that shit was funny.
That shit still slaps, till this very day. So I refuse to believe that Will Ferrell isn't one of the best comedic actors of all time. It's just that some of his later movies is just can't really identify with.
Yeah.
But the early ones, just he's etched in stone in the comedic world.
Rose Byrne, we just mentioned her. I love the work that she does. You know who she reminds me of? And again, this is not to put her in the shadow of anyone or compare
but it is
male actors to female actors. But I think I think it's fair to say that Vince Vaughn, right? He was able to do something very interesting where he looks like an actor who should be like a more serious.
Look, I tell you, man, I saw him in
was it not American Psycho? Because early on in his career, he did like more serious.
No, he didn't. He did like what's it called? The movie that he did with Jon Favreau, Swingers. Mm-hmm. He had Swingers, which wasn't necessarily like a serious role. But I mean, it was
early Vince Vaughn. I think in the beginning
that was literally like one of the first movies that he ever.
In the beginning, I think he tried to do like more like serious films, and then like we found out like this guy, but he's unassuming, right? Because in real life, he's like 6'7", right? He's tall as fuck. He's a guy who doesn't look like he should be funny.
Fair enough,
but he is. He's very.
The show that I was going to say is True Detective. That was the first thing that I really remember seeing him in. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna take you a little more serious than I usually do.
Yeah. I think Rose Byron manages to do the same thing. Whereas when you look at her, she does not look funny, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's maybe a fucked up assessment, but like there are certain people who look funny. Like you look like if you tell me a joke, I can laugh, and there are certain people who don't because they look a little bit more serious.
Sure.
She looks serious, but it's very like that, kind of like sarcastically funny, kind of like a Tina Fey, right? But here's the thing though, Tina Fey looks funny, right?
I don't think she looks funny. I think you're just used to her telling jokes. I think Rose Byrne benefits from that. She's just like, she's kind of like this British. I don't know what she is. She is British, I guess. I don't know. But she's like this British or possibly Australian. Yeah, that's what I was going to say next. who has this accent, and you're like, yeah, we're used to what you're usually in. But she then, she's in these roles. I don't think it's jokes necessarily so much as the roles that she's in that kind of allow her to sort of play around a little bit, especially with the and again, I'm not necessarily used to seeing her in like these type of roles, but the one of the first ones was Neighbors with Seth Rogen. I remember that was one of the first ones that I saw her in, and I was like, oh, okay, like you're pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, and it's because she's juxtaposed to, like, so for instance, she's across from like Steve Carell, whereas before she was with Neighbors, she was across from Seth Rogen.
Yeah, but even then, right? Like, let's say you're across from someone who's like a proven, known, like comedic actor or comedian who's funny, right? You still have to carry
absolutely.
your weight, and she manages to do that every step of the way. Even though you don't really picture her or put her in the same category as like a comedian, right? She can stand next to a Seth Rogen
and hold her weight,
Pete Carroll, and hold her own.
Yeah.
Which is what I always loved about her.
Yeah.
This movie looks great. The cast looks great. Again, Mackenzie Davis, who from Terminator Dark Fate, I think she was phenomenal in that movie. I think she's has a bright future. I think they should.
Dude, I'm going to recommend.
You know who? Oh, I'm going to recommend.
Okay.
That
I'm going to recommend.
No, you don't recommend. I'll recommend. The next time I go to a restaurant,
no. I'm gonna recommend.
I will recommend
Scampi,
the soup of the day, sir.
All right, what were you gonna recommend?
I feel like we should recast Brie Larson with Mackenzie Davis as Captain Marvel.
Look, I wouldn't be hurt about that, but I love Brie Larson.
Hey, listen, I'm a casting director.
I love Brie Larson, but I do also love Mackenzie Davis, so I'm not going to try to split hairs between them. I still think that Brie Larson has a lot to offer the role. She just has, and they have a new director. That's one thing I will say about the role. They do have a new director for Captain Marvel 2. So here's where we're going to be able to, and it's the same person who's, the person who's writing
The Eternals,
WandaVision.
Yes, WandaVision.
Is going to be, and from what I hear, WandaVision is like fucking out of this world, next level craziness.
Well, I hope this person brings a new vision to Captain Marvel.
But they have to.
Cast.
But that's why they have a new director, right?
Yeah.
It's because they realize that didn't work out too well the first time.
And Captain Marvel worked out well because of what it was, right? Like, it was going to do numbers no matter what. Doesn't mean that it was a great film, right?
No. Captain Marvel by no means was a great film.
Yeah, what?
I would never say such, right? But what I would say is it was.
You think Captain Marvel was a great film?
No, I didn't. I said specifically the opposite of that. I said it wasn't a great film.
Oh, okay, no. All right.
Yeah, relax.
My mind is playing tricks on me. I thought you said it was.
Relax.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I pulled my knife out. I'm sorry. I shouldn't treat you.
It wasn't a great film by any stretch of the imagination, right? But I still think that, and this is why I always say that you have to check out Brie Larson's previous work, because it gives you an insight into what she's able to bring to any particular role. Whereas if you just watch Captain Marvel, you're like, oh, she sucks as an actress. It's like, no, like I genuinely do believe that it was the direction of the film that just made it seem like she just sucked. Because if you actually think about the actual film, separate her performance from the film. Did you actually like the plot of the movie?
No.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. If you feel differently about the plot of the movie, that's going to then affect all aspects. So, for instance, did you think that Samuel L. Jackson did a particularly good job in the movie?
I'm trying to separate myself from my love of Samuel L. Jackson to his performance
no
in that role. I will also say I would give him like a B-.
Really? But is that... But that's because you love Samuel L. Jackson, though, not because he was just particularly good in the role.
So the best characters in this entire film, the only character who really did their job was the cat.
No. I think that Mendelsohn, or whatever his name is,
Ben Mendelsohn.
I thought he did a fantastic job in the film.
He did good. His character was weak, right? In terms of like I forget what race of Scrolls, yes.
Yeah.
So I did some research on the scrolls. They're actually a very, very powerful, very effective like being, right? And capable in terms of what they're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
But just like Drax's character in the MCU, they really diminished. So Ben was given like a Ferrari, but he can only drive it under 50, right? 400 horsepower, 380 pound-feet of torque to the wheels, or whatever that fucking whatever that math is. An open road, right? No traffic, no police. Keep it under 50, buddy. That's what he was given. So I think he's a great actor. He did well but he could have, if he was given more, he would have been able to do so much more.
Yeah,
but I don't think. But because he was confined to that, speed limit of 50, I don't think he did great either.
Okay,
the cat really killed it in that movie.
Yeah, the cat honestly gets the all-star, but also I think he did a very he killed it in his particular portrayal of I forget what his character's name was, Lars or I don't know, something in the film, but yeah, long story short, Irresistible. To get back to that film, I think it looks like a very great film. It again harkens back to the campaign with Will Ferrell, but it looks like it might have like a little more teeth, a little more meat than that film had. That was really just Will Ferrell's, as well as who's the guy from Hangover, Zach Galifianakis. It was really just their playground to really just play around and do whatever they wanted to do. But I think that this film is going to have a little more substance to it, a little more meat to it than that particular film did. So yeah. Question: do you think that a film that has more than one true star? So, for instance, I'm putting sort of like Rose Byron, Chris Cooper, all those people sort of on the same level. Do you think this sort of like hodgepodge of like actors and actresses, do you think that is to the benefit of the film, or does it kind of like there's a lot of people in it? Or would you like to see like one particular star be like, oh, like this is my film?
I mean, listen, people watch the Pro Bowl for a reason, right?
No, they don't watch the Pro Bowl for a reason.
No, but a lot of people don't, and a lot of people do, right? Like it's 20 million people watch the Pro Bowl. The viewership numbers look good, right? So when you have a movie like this where you have all these big name actors and actresses, people like to see a bunch of their favorites, right? You want to see Steve Carell, you want to see Rose Byron, and you want to see Mackenzie Davis, and you want to, and who's the other? And first of all, let's not fucking forget who's the real heavyweight in this movie. Who's the real titan? These are all actors. There's a god among them. A true titan, right?
Okay,
so that's Will Sasso.
Yeah, he's been around for the longest day.
Let's cut the bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
Let's be honest about this. Will fucking Sasso is a true king among these mere mortals, right? He is why I want to see this movie. Yeah, it's got Steve and Rose. We're on a first name basis now, and Mackenzie.
Yeah.
They're cool. Will Sasso will make this film, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
I just don't want anybody to forget that. Yeah, because that's a real thing.
Yeah, you got a phone call. Do you need to take that?
Nay. Okay. This is someone I'd rather talk to next month.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Okay, so we sort of adjudicated the.
And by the way, if you don't know who Will Sasso is, we know Will Sasso from Mad TV.
Yeah.
Best opening theme song among the best opening theme songs in TV
You are
history.
now watching Mad.
Right.
Yeah.
That Highlander.
Yo, it didn't last for that long though.
Mad TV went on a good while. They were competing against SNL.
Yeah. When you compare the two, it's sad how short Mad TV lasted.
But you know what though? I was a Mad TV.
Oh, I think there are a lot of people.
I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of SNL.
Yeah,
I fucking always would watch Mad TV.
Yeah, no, that's very
fucking
true.
Incredible, 100%. What they did.
Yeah, 100%. I was always a big fan of Mad TV versus, and I think they tried to reboot Mad TV.
They did, yeah,
and it just did not. It didn't pan out.
It did not work out well because the cast that they rebooted it with, just, I mean, the talent level was just not the same. But Mad TV, I mean. They had some fucking heavy hitters. Who was the other guy? It was Will Sasso. There was the other guy.
What's his name? Ben. Not Ben. Is it Ben? Damn, I forget his name. But he was in The Hangover as well. He was like the dude who like was shot in the leg or something like that. Am I remembering that right? He was like the foreign dude.
I don't know if I remember him. But just to go over like just some of the names from Mad TV, right? We've got Alex Bornstein, which she always played the mom to Michael McDonald. Remember, he'd be like, "No,
Stewie,
Stewart or whatever.
Stewart.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Michael McDonald, Aries Spears, right?
I'm not even really a fan of Aries Spears. Postman TV.
His stand-ups to me are great. Stephanie Weir was phenomenal. We've got Jordan Peele, Mad TV in his younger days. Orlando Jones.
I remember Orlando Jones for sure. Yeah,
like the cast of the talent that came out of Mad TV, in my opinion, really strongly rivals the talent that came out of SNL.
No, I think that's, but for the short-lived life. So, for instance, if it lasted
as long,
I might not be saying the same thing.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
Shout out to Will Sasso.
Yeah.
And the cast of Mad TV.
Yeah. All right.
Damn, we're bringing back some. This is some generational shit we're talking about.
It definitely is. It definitely is. But we got to hurry up through this because